Good morning, TikTok land. I don't know how many of you know about Operation Paperclip, which was after World War II when the Russians and the Americans fought over the Nazi scientists responsible for the Holocaust and such. There we not only fought after these unethical, corrupt scientists that have crafted our scientific and medical narratives since World War II, where we've gone from a cause based medical system in terms of treatment to a symptom focused management medical approach. And you really should also do some research on the CIA MK Ultra program. There's a lot of great YouTubes, or BitChute is a great, or even Rumble are great platforms that can go into MK Ultra in great depth. But many people who have suffered from who have been unknowing lab rats have suffered great traumas in the name of science. And many of these people were likely like Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, or Timothy McVeigh of the Oklahoma City bombing, or many of these school shooters. The guy who here in Tucson who shot Kathy Gifford at a supermarket, former congresswoman, about 10 years ago, and all these other people, likely part of the MK Ultra program. Okay, these people aren't acting out violently because they have severe mental illness. They've been acting out violently because they have been the victims of dark psychology and corrupt medicine, and it's everything has been done to make us live in a life of fear. There's a large community out there in the internet, in this world, called targeted individuals. Now you can do your work on that, and nobody has formally proven that I'm aware of that targeting actually exists, but there is a case going to the Supreme Court. But I'm being told that the Supreme Court is part of this new world order that was really, I believe, Richard Nixon was part of this new world order, and the United States started going very astray after the Nixon administration. I can tell you that, especially the United States, and so I think we need a complete gutting of our government. I think we need a complete overhaul. Many of these people in there cannot be trusted, or the tactic of this new world order is to unlawfully and unfairly, and to bypass the Constitution, acquire dirt on certain people, and to coerce them and blackmail them so that they will act in accordance to the principles or the goals of the New World Order, rather than working on behalf of the people or their own intentions, and it's a very dark, twisted thing, and I'm standing up against this because I know there's awful dirt out there against me, awful. But when you've been stripped of everything and you're in a really difficult life position, there's something called the Maslow hierarchy of needs, okay, where people are going to get their basic needs met in any way that they can before they can reach and climb the pyramid. Notice the irony in the symbolism of the pyramid, where self-actualization is at the top, contentment and self-actualization. So there's food, shelter, human connection, things like that on the bottom, and then, as you know, once you get those baseline needs met, then you can climb up the pyramid to the point where your ultimate goal is self-actualization. Well, if your life is continually sabotaged, where you are constantly trying to just get your very bare bone basic needs met, a lot of times you will act in ways that are perceived as unethical or amoral or even illegal, right? A lot of times, this is why we have a mass addiction problem. This is why fentanyl is such a problem today. It's a top-down problem that so many people have horrible trauma histories, and our mental health care system is not effective. It doesn't. Very few therapists actually target and deal with trauma, unless if it's formal trauma, traditional trauma, like war or rape or things like that, you know? And so trauma is so much more than that. Trauma is so much more encompassed. And the United States is a country of trauma. Many of those Europeans who fled and emigrated from Europe and immigrated into the United States, they left very traumatic situations. They left their family, their friends, and everything, and moved across the Atlantic for a reason, guys, because their lives were so messed up. I don't know how many of you know about the orphan trains in the United States in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but that was trauma, man. There was mass placing people in mental institutions deemed as crazy back then, where they likely weren't crazy, okay? That this was done to strip them of their children. And then the children, these orphans, were shipped out to the Midwest and other parts of the United States to populate the United States with white children, to expand the United States and to make it stronger. But the goal was also to indoctrinate these children and to teach them a certain life philosophy. And everything's been an indoctrination. But my point is that these orphans obviously had very, very traumatic lives, being ripped from their biological parents and told that they're crazy. And our country is built on lies. It's built on taking advantage of other groups, be it the African slaves that were brought over here, or the mass extermination of the Native American indigenous population here, where people of white descent intentionally gave Native Americans infected blankets with like smallpox and various other diseases with the intention to kill these people. Good people, children of God. Like, do you understand how evil that is? And trauma, it's passed intergenerationally. Okay, it's and so when you're born, your DNA it carries past traumas from your parents and your grandparents. Okay, and trauma is likely the root of a lot of mental illness. Okay, but I don't want to say that everything's all bad and bleak and there is no hope, because there is hope. Because trauma can be treated effectively. People can heal from trauma. But our mental health system denies it. I was a cognitive neuroscience researcher at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Albuquerque, New Mexico back in 2006. And the principal investigator of the researcher, Dr. Jose Canive, the late Dr. Jose Canive, he's since passed. He was Cuban, went to college in McGill. I believe he went to medical school in McGill. And then I don't know how he ended up in Albuquerque. But he was the head of psychiatry at the Veterans Administration, and he spearheaded this research, the group that we were in, and I was like his right-hand man in the lab. Anyways, he assigned me some pilot data, some just initial data to explore and see if there was anything there. And the population that we were looking at were Vietnam War veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't want to get into all the research details because that's not important. The important thing that you need to know is that everybody told me there's nothing there in the data, Greg. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Well, my autistic mind, my neurodivergent mind, was like, well, let me take a look, because I'm really unique at recognizing patterns and numbers and stuff. And I just looked at this spreadsheet or this database, and I was like, huh, I can see some things there. And so I started looking a little bit differently, and I noticed that things were some of these numbers were foreign, were alien. And I was like, huh, that's weird. But I, being my good soul, I didn't think much about it at the time. So I went back and I collected all the original files that had the original data written by hand. And I found out that much of the data had been inputted into the database wrong. And so I was like, huh, well, that's interesting. Why would that happen? And it was some pretty large errors and lots of them. So I went in and fixed all the data and ran the statistics, and I was like, my God, there's some great information here. The point of my story is that this data was intentionally sabotaged because they didn't want it published. They wanted to stifle research on trauma. Okay, they okay, not obviously not the principal investigator, but other scientists I worked with, other medical doctors and scientists I worked with wanted to stifle this data. When I was presenting the finding to the senior researchers, this is when I had already overcome a variety of chronic illnesses, and I came in just a wreck, and I had this PowerPoint presentation and all this literature review that I'd done on previous research on PTSD. I was connecting dots, but man, just a horrible brain fog, and I couldn't think, and I was just speaking like a robot, and I was really suffering, and I didn't know why. Well, I know why now. So I need to get this out there that this PTSD pilot data was cursed, and they wanted to suppress it, and this is critical. So if you want to know more about this data, let me know. If you want to know more about how our science has been manipulated one direction or another, let me know. Because this stuff needs to be spoken about. And it was after I presented this data and then presented it at a scientific seminar, and then at Organization for Human Brain Mapping, and then I ended up going to graduate school where I tried to acquire concurrent PhDs, and you can find my story about that, a little bit about it, on another TikTok. My point is that my life has been a living nightmare since 2005 once I found that data. And that's been by design, guys. It's likely been by design by maybe the New World Order, the Illuminati, or whatever these secret societies are, okay? These secret societies need to go. They have nefarious intentions. They have evil intentions where they are pushing a scientific and a medical narrative. They're pushing a political narrative. They're pushing a judicial narrative, and it's not right, okay? I have no problem with people uniting and connecting over on spiritual or religious grounds or political grounds, economic, whatever. But if you have nefarious intentions, if you have evil intentions where you are sabotaging other people's lives, I'm sorry, but you should not be allowed to meet in public. You should not be allowed to meet in private, okay? That we have the right to assemble, but we do not have the right to assemble to hurt good people in an evil manner. It's no, okay? where they are bypassing the Constitution. They are bypassing. They're twisting the scientific story, all right, and to favor themselves. Okay, and that's. I mean, the idea that our medical system, our scientific system, our educational system, our political system lacks integrity, you guys know this. But I can help share some of this broken narrative and how it was constructed. And my point is, and if you want to hear this, some of this stuff, let me know, okay? Because I need to share this. Well, I still can. There's a target on my back, okay? For a reason. And it's not because I'm a bad person. I've done some bad things since this because I've had a very difficult life. But I take full accountability for my mistakes, guys. And I'm not trying to deflect blame. I'm just trying to speak the truth and connect and share this with all of you. Because you deserve the truth. I deserve the truth. I need to know exactly what's happened to me and why it's happened to me. And it's not fair. And it's sick. It's sadistic. These guys are psychopaths. They're sociopaths, okay? They are the narcissists of our society. And our society today, we have a narcissistic society, a capitalistic narcissistic society that rewards these people with fake, hollow egos that they need to abuse and take advantage of those people with trauma histories and to craft their narrative and to make themselves feel better, right? And so they suck the energy of us people with good souls and abuse us, either psychologically or emotionally or physically even, to the point where people will act out and do things that appear inhuman or irrational or unjustified. But no, they've been pushed to the point where they've lost hope, they've lost connection, they've lost everything unfairly, unconstitutionally. And these programs need to stop, okay? MK Ultra, all right? And Project Monarch. These programs need to stop, okay? There are hundreds of thousands of people, targeted individuals, okay, out there today in the United States, and it goes beyond the United States. Drop some comments. Let me know what you would like me to talk about, okay? I don't want to guide this. I want to hear what you guys want to know. And I don't know everything. I know the outline and certain details, okay, that I can show cracks to. But there's so much more that I still need to learn. But everybody needs to be aware of what's going on. That these school shooters, they've been toyed with. And they've been laughed at. And instead of, I'm likely an MK Ultra baby, okay? And I will tell more about that story later. But instead of me acting out violently or in some wild way that was likely the objective, instead I poked fun at it. I laughed at it. And so if you'd like to hear some of my story and how my story is not unique, that my story has been done, that there have been great, gross, evil injustices that people couldn't even imagine, that are being committed, to tell it, to push a specific narrative. And it's sadistic. It's messed up. And these people need help mentally. They're the ones that are mental. They're the ones that are deranged. They're the ones that are evil, okay? I'm no saint, and I own full accountability for my life mistakes. But when you're stuck on the bottom on that Maslow hierarchy of needs, sometimes you'll do anything to get your basic needs met for human connection and such. But I've laughed at this, And that's how I've coped. And then that's how I've fought back. And I've been tireless in researching and trying to understand why my life has been so difficult. And I've connected a lot of dots. So please provide me some feedback, and let me know. Let me know, okay? What do you want to hear about? Do you want to hear about my life story, or do you just want to hear about these programs in general? I think my own life story is much more personal. And I have to let you guys know that while I've never received a formal diagnosis, I'm likely on the autistic spectrum disorder, autistic spectrum. And on the, there's a test called the RADS, and I scored like 174. It's an online test that you can take, and that points to pretty extreme autism. Not extra, yeah. But that was overlooked because I was born in 1974 and nobody was diagnosed with autism back there unless you were super, super severe, not high functioning autistics. And so, I have to wonder about the cause of autism now. If this wasn't all but by design before I was even born, back when I was in my mother's womb. Very possible, guys. Anyways, provide me some feedback about how I can share some of this corruption and shed some light on some of this corruption and this evil. How can I effectively convey everything to you? Thank you. God bless. I'm going to go to church in a little bit, and I hope everybody has a fantastic day. I love you all.